Walter Tejada, there were a lot of national headlines this week about immigration. The Justice Department is suing the state of Arizona over a law that gives police the authority to question people who they suspect of being here illegally. It's a law that Prince William Chairman Corey Stewart would like to see a version of in Virginia, and he said he'd invite a federal lawsuit in the Commonwealth too. Where do you see the immigration debate headed in your county and in Virginia at large?
Well, first, I think the federal government correctly is looking to set order in what's become patchwork of proposals throughout the country that cause nothing more than divisiveness in local communities, whether it's at a county, city, or state level. Clearly, in time and time again, through many court cases, it's been established that the federal government has the authority to regulate and legislate on immigration. And so I think what the Department of Justice has done is correctly to set order in this basically divisive measures that are costly, both in terms of money, because they cost money to file on a lawsuit, as well as the social costs in a community that many immigrants then feel an environment of fear, hostility toward them, and I think that's unhealthy. That's not the way this nation, tradition, the values of this country of tolerance have included. Now, there are some copycats throughout the country, and I hope that the filing of the lawsuit by the Department of Justice will serve as a deterrent for those who may be thinking about those proposals, including in Virginia. Mr. Stewart has his views. I have to
but what if he implements a similar policy in Prince William County? How will that affect counties close by like Arlington?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that Mr. Stewart and whoever are the ones supporting his views may be attempting to implement something like that. And some will call him an expert on fanning the flames of anti-immigrant sentiment. We know that those ordinances have no teeth. Even his law enforcement police department was against the proposal he put forward some time back, and caused a lot of people leave the county, causing a great deal of economic hardship. A lot of business closed. It turns out that those people he wanted to kick out were taxpaying contributors and helping the economy. And so, people may want to think that they can score political points by proposing this type of idea. It was tried in a couple of gubernatorial races. It didn't pay off against Mark Warner and against Tim Kaine. There were some xenophobic tactics implemented in. It backfired. We know what the results were. In the last gubernatorial election, thank goodness that did not play a leading role. And I think that we more instead focus on issues that matter every day person in Virginia. So that's the latest xenophobic tactic perhaps that some person may be thinking about in Prince William County. It's not the way we do it in Arlington County.
The Arizona law, as I've tried to understand it, is that in the commission of a civil infraction or a crime, the police are not authorized but pretty much directed to determine whether they're dealing with the person who has legal status in this country, right?
Yeah.
The concern, as I understand it, is that authorities can trump up things. This is like how black people sometimes are still stopped because they have a tail light out, and then they are subject to harassment and discrimination and other things like that. What is if you can, for the listeners, what is the objection to the Arizona state law, other than the fact that it should be a federal issue, not a state-by-state issue where we would have a crazy quilt of laws?
Well,
what is the objection
to
Arizona law?
Think about it. The law calls for to authorize police officers to engage in what's essentially racial profiling, because it says under reasonable suspicion, anyone can be stopped and checked for their immigration status, checked for their papers. Well, I think if you and I are walking down the street and we're both wearing shorts and T-shirts, it's unlikely they may stop you, Tom, but probably they might go after me. Especially if my hair is all messed up, as it usually is anyway. But
the law says it's supposed to be some other matter other than just seeing people.
Well,
the concern is it wouldn't be enforced that way.
It's very subjective. And we can talk about at our level and the chief level and on black and white on paper about how things ought to be. In the real world, the front lines, when you have to deal on a day-to-day basis, decisions are made that can change someone's life forever.
Have you been subjected to that type of stopping where people may not know who you are, either or younger in your life? Have you
Absolutely.
had the same kind of discrimination.
I'd lived in New Jersey before I moved to Virginia, and periodically,
That's a good move.
and so we felt all that, and even now as board member, as an elected official, when people don't know that I'm an elected official, there are certain ways that people address you, and then it's a little odd when they find, and I'm an elected official, that attitudes change. And I find that very kind of repulsive, frankly, because I ought to be treated equally. So that goes on all the time, and we know that, and to have it state sanctioned racial profile, which is this law would do if it goes into effect July 29, that's the date it's supposed to go into effect, then that's what we have.